For more on the New Orleans jailbreak, let's bring in former FBI special agent and Fox News contributor Nicole Parker. Nicole, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So this scenario in New Orleans, 10 prisoners breaking out, what do you make of it? How does that happen?
That's absolutely unbelievable, and that's terrifying to the citizens of that area. And I can tell you that I am friends with agents that were in the FBI in New Orleans, and it wouldn't shock me if it was an inside job and that assistance was provided to these inmates. I mean, these are not just your run-of-the-mill criminals. These are people that have been convicted of murder and are, alleged to have committed murder. And this is very, very dangerous. And it's very important for the citizens in that area to know that they are considered armed and dangerous. If you see them, you need to report it immediately to law enforcement, but to stay safe.
Former FBI Director James Comey created quite a stir on social media this week. I want to play President Trump's reaction to it, and then I'll get your analysis of the whole thing.
He knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant.
Nicole, as a former FBI special agent, what's your reaction to all this?
First of all, he is a former FBI director. He should be held to a higher standard, and he should know what those numbers mean. And for him to say that he did not, I do not believe that he is being honest and truthful. I believe that there is definitely deniability in this situation. I think the U.S. Secret Service going in and conducting the interviews, if I was the investigating agent, the first question I would say, why did you post that? And what did you think it meant? If you didn't think it meant violence, what did you think it meant? And I think looking at the pattern of his posts on Instagram, I know I looked through his Instagram page myself, there's some serious bitterness and disdain towards President Trump and this new administration. And it appears that Jim Comey is very concerned about the situation that our country is in right now, and telling those at DOJ and FBI to hold the line. And I can tell you right now, as a former FBI agent who worked when he was the director, I believe, and many agents believe, that he is the one that politically weaponized the FBI. He was the beginning of the downfall at the FBI. And the fact that he was fired, Comey is still bitter towards President Trump about that. He cannot get over it. He cannot let it go. And he believes that Trump destroyed his legacy. And so for him to say this post was just, walking along a beach and seeing seashells, I'm not buying that.
Here is Comey's explanation. I want to show the audience, and I'll get you to react to it. He said, quote, "I posted a picture earlier of some shells I saw on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down." Final thought on this matter.
Again, I'm sorry, but I think Jim Comey knows better than that, and I just don't think Americans, we just don't believe that. And again, as a former FBI agent who worked under him, I believe that he has narcissistic tendencies, was quite arrogant, quite manipulative, and has never been held accountable.
All right, current FBI Director Kash Patel creating quite a stir, saying he's going to basically move around 1,500 FBI agents assigned here to Washington and close the headquarters. Your thoughts on that one?
I think that's amazing. Because you know what? The more people that are on the streets working cases, the more people you're going to put behind bars. And that's what we want. We want to make America safe again. Pushing papers and doing administrative work out of the Washington headquarters is not going to make Americans safer. And as an FBI agent, I know that I was overwhelmed with work and with cases. And then we'd see people at headquarters who seem to be sitting there not doing much. And so I think it's a welcome to the FBI that Kash Patel is saying, look, we're going to put the good agents on the streets. We're going to let good cops be good cops, and let's put bad people behind bars. That's what Americans want.
Because after all, not all the crime happens here in the nation's capital. Nicole Parker, great to have you. Have a wonderful weekend.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.